Hello gamers, welcome back to a Bleach Soul Resonance build guide video. In this video, I will be covering how to build and use the newest character in the game of the brand new type Finesse, that is Bambietta. This video, as usual, will be covering the recommended stamp sets as well as the recommended rotations for Bambietta, but as a bonus, I will also be discussing my feelings about Bambietta and how she plays in the game along with the new typing. There will be timestamps given in the description, and if YouTube chapters decide to work, they will be there on the video player as well. You can use those to jump around the video and look at whatever you want to look at. Before I do get into the video, if you guys like the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe. If you have any questions, leave a comment, or join my Discord server. The link will be in the description. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. So, Bambietta is a full assault unit for the brand new finesse typing in the game. Moving on to her ability, not weapon. Her weapon stamp, at Weapon Ascension 1, increases her crit rate by 25%. It increases the spiritual pressure she gains. While in Volstern Ditch, each explosion stack deals more damage. By finishing the final hit of her basic attack string, it also decreases the defense of the enemies that you're attacking, like an extra 2.5%. While exiting her Volstern Ditch state, the excess spiritual pressure is converted back by a ratio of 1:1. Moving on to her skills, she introduces a brand new type of skill called the entry skill, wherein every time her spiritual pressure is filled, if you swap into her, she immediately enters from the backline in her Volstern Ditch form, while also dealing a bit of damage. As for her core passive, it lets her store excess spiritual pressure after the main bar is full. This does say that after you exit her Volstern Ditch, it converts the spiritual pressure at a ratio of 1:0.5, but this does get increased to 1:1 by the weapon stamp. Bambietta can enter her Volstern Ditch state via a special attack, entry skill, or ultimate. Between these, I would only recommend using entry skill or the ultimate. Entering her Volstern Ditch via her special attack is not recommended because, as you guys probably know already, her rotations are very awkward, and the special attack Volstern Ditch makes it even more awkward, so to say. While in Volstern Ditch, if you use her technique in Volstern Ditch, it releases her Volstern Ditch state and goes back to her base form. Also, while she is in her Volstern Ditch state, every attack that she does while she has spiritual pressure will apply explosion stacks to the enemies for 10 seconds, and it stacks up to 70 times. Additionally, Bambietta records the maximum amount of explosion stacks that she has ever applied to an enemy, and when you inflict explosion stacks on a target whose current explosion stack count is below the recorded maximum, it immediately applies the maximum explosion stacks ever recorded to that enemy immediately. Also, after her basic attack string deals additional damage, maximum stack count does reset. Moving on to her passive 1. If any character other than Bambietta uses an entry skill, Bambietta gains spiritual pressure. Currently, there is no other character with the entry skill. Also, if any other character uses a counter attack. As for her passive boost 2, whenever Bambietta releases an ultimate while she is in her Volstern Ditch form, the attack ignores 50% of the target's defense. And lastly, for her passive boost 3, every time Bambietta enters the field through an entry skill, her attack increases by 25% for 30 seconds. Moving on to her boundaries, her B1 increases her finesse damage by 25% and immediately increases the spiritual pressure she has to the maximum at the start of the battle. Her B2 increases the maximum number of explosion stacks from 70 up to 100, and when the entry skill Gliding Bombardment hits an enemy, it can apply up to 30 stacks of explosion. Her B3 increases her skill levels by 2. Her B4 increases the damage multiplier of her entry skill Gliding Bombardment by 200%, and it also increases her all-skill mastery by 25%. Her B5 again increases the skill levels by 2. Finally, her B6. Put this into easier words, this basically means that the ultimate that you do from her entry skill Volstern Ditch will be the same as the ultimate that you do from her ultimate Volstern Ditch. At the start of the battle, she gains 50% ultimate energy, and it also increases her ult damage by 50%. Onto her stamps. Her core stamp increases her basic attack damage by 25% while in Volstern Ditch, and also reduces the spiritual pressure cost by 15%. This reduced 50% spiritual pressure cost is the effect that makes her rotations a lot more awkward than they should have been. So I would not be surprised if this gets removed from her core stamp anytime soon. or if it gets a buff. If you use her entry skill Gliding Bombardment to enter her bolster and ditch, it allows you to chain directly into the third basic attack of her basic attack string. While in bolster and ditch, all ultimates deal 75% more damage, and she also gains a follow-up attack at the start of the battle, and while she is in the backline, if the follow-up attack is not active, she automatically gets it in 3 seconds. As for her bond set, I would recommend using the Toshiro bond set. This does perform better than her own bond set according to certain tests done by other people. You can test this and the Toshiro bond set and use whichever one deals higher damage, but from the tests that I've seen, this in general gives you more damage per second. Finally, moving on to her stamp set. As usual, it's recommended to use her own stamp set, that is the Crushing Force type. So to find out how many rolls into crit rate she needs, we will be going to the crit rate calculator. The link to download this calculator as well as the tutorial on how to use this will be in the description. But at Weapon Ascension 1, she gets 25% crit rate from her weapon stamp, and that's really about it. That's all the crit rate bonus that you can get with this character. So at Weapon Ascension 1, you want her rolls to be 421, 331, or 322 in her set stamps for crit rate. Keep in mind these rolls do include the 6 stars guaranteed rolls as well. This calculation also does assume that you are using a crit rate second stamp. If you don't use a crit rate second stamp, it's impossible to reach 100% crit rate with just the 25% weapon stamp crit rate bonus. So it is recommended to use the crit rate second stamp as the basic stat. At Weapon Ascension 2, weapon stamp gives a crit rate of 31.25%. Again, with the crit rate second stamp, you'll either need 411, 321, or 222 rolls into crit rate. Again, if you try not to use a crit rate second stamp, this is again impossible to achieve 100% crit rate. At Weapon Ascension 3, her crit rate goes up to 37.5% from the weapon stamp, and with the 32% crit rate second stamp, you will need 4 rolls in total. 211 is the only distribution that you can work with. If you try to do it without a crit rate second stamp, it is possible, but you will need all 3 rolls into crit rate on all 3 stamps, so it is not recommended. As for Weapon Ascension 4, she gets 43.75% crit rate from her weapon stamp, and in this scenario, with a crit rate second stamp, you'll need 3 rolls, 1 in each, so this is the guaranteed 1 roll into the 6-star stamps. If you try to do this without a crit rate second stamp, you will need a total of 11 rolls, 4 for 3, which again is not recommended as this is RNG heavy. And finally, at Weapon Ascension 5, her weapon gives her a total of 50% crit rate. With the crit rate second stamp, you will only need 2 rolls, 1 on 2 stamps. And if you try to do this without a crit rate second stamp, you will need 9 rolls in total, 441, 432, 333. This is the only scenario where I would recommend not using a crit rate second stamp. And if you're not using a crit rate second stamp, I would recommend using attack percentage as the basic stat on your second set stamp. So, going back to Weapon Ascension 1, which gives her 25% crit rate with a crit rate second set stamp, you'll need a total of 7 rolls. Going back to the game, for her set stamp 1, the recommended basic stats are either attack percentage or finesse damage bonus. As for advanced stats, the recommended or the best stats possible are crit rate, attack percentage, crit damage, and ultimate charge rate. With those for advanced stats, besides the rolls you need on crit rate, the best rolls you can possibly have are on attack percentage as well as crit damage. As for her set stamp 2, again, the recommended basic stats are crit rate unless you are at Weapon Ascension 5. With advanced stats, the recommended stats are crit rate, ultimate charge rate, attack percentage, and crit damage. The ideal rolls besides the required rolls on crit rate would be attack percentage and crit damage. And finally, for the third set stamp, the recommended basic stat is attack percentage, and as usual, the best advanced stats possible are crit rate, crit damage, ultimate charge rate, and attack percentage. Again, the ideal rolls being the required rolls into crit rate, and the remaining going into attack percentage and crit damage. Keep in mind, from her advanced stats, I would recommend getting a minimum of 24% ultimate charge rate onto Bambietta so that the rotations that you do can be a lot more smoother. Talking about the stamps that I have on Bambietta, as you can see, I have not been as lucky when it comes to getting stamps on Bambietta. The only good stamp I have is this stamp number 2, which has 2 rolls into attack percentage. I will probably 6-star this, I haven't done it yet because I am actively farming for more stamp sets for Bambietta, and maybe on the off chance that I get a better piece than this, then I will 6-star that one instead of this. But because my stamp sets are not yet completed for Bambietta, the damage that I will be doing on my rotations will not be as high, or that will not showcase the damage potential of this character. The rotations in this video are purely to show you how to use the character and not to show you how much damage she will be doing. So, before we do get into the rotations, I will be talking about Bambietta and her release, the new typing. Feel free to go ahead and skip to the rotations part of the video if you do not want to listen to me yap about the game as a whole, but I feel like I need to talk about the game. Releasing Bambietta right now was a terrible idea by the devs. Not more so because that she's Bambietta, more so because that she's introducing the brand new typing finesse. Currently, she is the only finesse unit in the game, so you're forced to pair her with Aizen as the tactic unit and Kisuke as the support unit. I'm not saying that Aizen and Kisuke are bad by any means, but Kisuke is a standard support, and the limited supports, that being Xylopero and Mayuri, have power creeped him and give way more support value than Kisuke. Kisuke is still pretty good, but he's not up there with the limited supports. And when it comes to Aizen, he already has his full team, that being Ulquiorra and Xylopera. So why would you use Aizen with Bambietta and Kisuke when you can use him with Xylopero and Ulquiorra and get way more damage with the Mono Spirit team? In my opinion, if you haven't yet summoned for Bambietta, then I would say wait it out. Because as I mentioned, her team is not that great. And the rotations with that said team are also very awkward. It's very counterintuitive, the rotations, because usually in a 60-second run, you want to ult twice with Aizen, but if you're using Bambietta, it's quite literally impossible to ult twice with Aizen in under 60 seconds, unless you force yourself to not use Bambietta at all, which would in turn kill her damage that she does, and you'll basically just be using Aizen and Kisuke without a third character. As for what I think Bambietta should have been, it's very easy to turn her into a spirit tactic unit. You could have very easily turned this entry skill into a battlefield skill. If she was to be a spirit tactic unit, I think a lot of people would have liked it, because despite how good Aizen is, you do need him Boundary Ascension 1. At B0, Aizen is probably the worst limited tactic unit in the game. He gets his massive power spike at B1. Without his B1, he is really bad. So to replace that B0 Aizen, the people that do have that B0 Aizen who is really bad, you could have very easily made Bambietta into a spirit tactic unit, and that would have fulfilled a niche in the game that is yet to be fulfilled. Speaking of finesse, this is a horrible release. This is a horrible idea to release a brand new typing. If you wanted to release a finesse character, you should start with the tactic unit and not the full assault. In my opinion, this is how they should have gone about releasing a brand new type in the game. Release a tactic unit as a limited SSR first instead of the full assault. And before you even release that limited tactic type SSR of the brand new type, you release a brand new full assault SR plus type character that you can pick up from the battle pass, so that you have an SR plus full assault character of the new type, and since it's an SR plus character, you don't have to make content around that specific new typing, so that the awkward team things does not happen, since people won't be using that character besides just testing him out and having fun with that character. And once you do release that limited tactic unit for the brand new type, you already have an SR plus full assault character to pair with them, and you can always run Kisuke, who is a global support, given he does take a lot of time, but that is how you release a brand new type. And then later down the line, you can release either a limited SSR full assault unit for that typing, or a limited SSR support for that typing. Anyways, I've rambled on very long. Now let's get right into the rotations with Bambietta. I will be using my Aizen, whose weapon ascension is Ascension 3. I have him Boundary Ascension 6, but I will be using him as a B0 and a B1 unit. So if you copy the exact rotation that you will see on your screen, it will work for you if you have Aizen at B0 or B1. The numbers that you will see on, say, his battlefield skill or the damage numbers will not be the same, of course, because again, I have him B6. But as far as the rotation goes, if you copy the exact rotation that I'm doing for B0 and B1, you will get the same rotation as me. As for his stamp set, I have this on his set stamp 1, this on his set stamp 2, this on his set stamp 3. These are not the best set stamps by any means, but these are the best that I've gotten on him so far. And as for his core stamp, it is Ascension Stage 5. Alongside Aizen, I will be using Kisuke as the support. His weapon is Ascension 1. The dupes on his weapon do not matter. He is B2 for me, so I do get 15% more damage every time I use a technique on something. As for his stamp sets, using this on his stamp set 1, this on his stamp set 2, this on his stamp set 3, and as for his core stamp, it is Ascension Stage 1. So in total, I am getting 238.4% crit damage and 173.6% ultimate charge rate. And for Aizen, I have 67.67% crit rate, which goes up thanks to his weapon, 126.8% crit damage, and 114.4% ultimate charge rate. As for Bambietta, her weapon stamp is currently at Ascension Stage 1, but I can make it Ascension Stage 2 because I did get a 2-in-1 while I was summoning for her weapon. And as for her core stamp, it is also core stamp Ascension 1. For her stats, I have about 80.6% crit rate. This needs to be 100%. Again, as I mentioned before, my stamps on Bambietta are not good. As for crit damage, it is at 80.7%, and my ult charge rate is 153.7% because currently on my Bambietta, I have the ultimate charge rate 3rd stamp equipped because I do not have anything else that's better. So, without further ado, let's get right into the rotations. So that's the rotation when you're using a B0 Aizen. Again, an actual B0 Aizen will be dealing a lot less damage than my Aizen here, and a properly built Bambietta will be dealing a lot more damage than my Bambietta here. So in a way it might balance out and you might get the same DPS, but again in a way it might not either. Next I will show you the rotation that you can do with a B1 Aizen.
さよなら波動の救助黒羊君に預け無駄ですよ。
出てきなさいよ。ダメだ。こんなダメだ。ぶっ飛ばす。まとめてぶっ壊してやるってよ。
遅くなっちゃってそれだけのことだ。それで終わりだ。さあ波動の救助黒羊君に預け無駄ですよ。91戦時光天大砲
出てきなさいよ。ダメだ。こんなダメだ。ぶっ飛ばす。まとめてぶっ壊してやるってよ。
遅くなっちゃってそれだけのことだ。砕けろ強化水月それで終わり遅い波動の救助黒羊君に預け無駄ですよ。手に姫
クイーンシー・フォルシュテンドル。ダメだ。こんな私の字エクスプロードでね。
波動の91
意味わかんない。
戦時光天大砲爆動無用マイナーこれからは私が天に立つ波動の救助黒羊それでは無駄ですよ。手に姫
なさいよ。ダメだ。ぶっ飛ばす。
That is the rotation that you will be doing with a B1 Aizen. Again, the damage that a B1 Aizen will deal, it will be less than this because again, my Aizen is B6, he gets more damage back due to his high boundaries. And again, if your Bambietta is built properly, like mine, you will be dealing more damage with Bambietta. Next, let's finally look at the rotation that you can do with a B4 and above Aizen.
手に姫手に姫
だった。
波動の91戦時光天大砲
意味わかんない。
それだけのことだ。早すそれで終わる波動の救助黒羊君に預ける無駄ですよ。手に姫
出てきなさいよ。ぶっ飛ばす。
遅くなっちゃってそれだけのことだ。それで終わるさよなら波動の救助黒羊君に預ける無駄ですよ。手に姫手に姫戦時光天大砲
出てきなさいよ。ダメだ。こんなダメだ。ぶっ飛ばす。
遅くなっちゃってそれだけのことだ。早く砕けろ強化水月それで終わり遅い波動の救助黒羊君に預ける無駄ですよ。手に姫
クイーンシー・フォルシュテンドル。ダメだ。こんなダメだ。ぶっ飛ばす。私の字エクスプロードでね。
戦時光天大砲力というのはこういうものをそれで終わる
That's the rotation that you can do with an Aizen that is B4 or above. Depending on the dupes, your damage with Aizen will again look different, and if you have a better build Bambietta, again your damage will be higher with Bambietta. And also in this rotation, if you can save maybe half a second, you will also be able to alt for a third time with her entry skill low surge. So if you fix the rotation just a tiny bit, I did make tiny mistakes there. If you do not make those mistakes, you'll be able to get the third ultimate off. So with that, this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video or learned something new, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to my channel, leave a comment if you have any questions, or join my Discord if you wish to send any images with your question. I will be helping everybody in the comments and my Discord. We'll see you with the next character, which will most likely be Uryu, regardless of if he is fitness or thrust or spirit, regardless of what he is. The video will be available in the channel within the first few days of him releasing. And yeah, that's about it. I will see you guys next time. Bye bye!